Okay, so Ringwalk Media, we're over in Terry Spencer's gym, and we've got Coach Jamie Walsh with us. Nice to see you, mate.
Nice to see you, Jonathan. How's your holiday? How's Ireland?
Ireland was not on holiday, let me tell you. It was hard bloody work, and Sean McCollum, of course, defended his European title. It was a good night.
Seen it. That was very impressive. Peter Taylor's stable, doing very well.
I think he'll have a world title fight next.
Yeah, definitely deserves one. Works hard as well. He came down here a few months ago with Jazza, Gary Cully, and they all jumped in, sparred Edo. That was good. It's good seeing that Pete's techniques as well. He's a magician.
So what, when we're in the changing rooms and we're watching him just before a fight, he goes into this mode that's just, you just can't repeat. There's no words for it. It's a really, really technical, just controlled, and you can tell the look in his eyes. He knows what his fighters are going to do when they're in the ring.
The thing, he's such a good trainer, and obviously he done a lot for Katie, didn't he? Obviously before she turned pro as well, getting him in the stable, and then it's all coming to fruition now, especially with Sean. He's got to have the world title next year. He's got to. Hopefully in Ireland, hopefully Jazz back over, hopefully jump Edo on the show. Leon, Liv, Eddie Earn, get on us.
Basically your old gym, yeah?
Ideally, yeah. I'll make a comeback, Tez will.
Jesus, no, we're not that desperate. Well, listen, you're obviously one of the main coaches here alongside Terry in Terry's gym. You've got a debutant, I can't even say the word, a debutant in Liv Hussey out in about 5-6 weeks over in Liverpool. How's she doing?
6 weeks away. To be honest, she's been in camp with us quite a while now. She's phenomenal. You've seen it yourself. She's such a talent. European gold medalist in the amateurs. Getting a convert over to that professional style as well. Kind of holding down, sitting down a little bit more on the shots. She's really taken to it, like, really well.
That was my next question, because sometimes making that transition from, like you say, a European gold medalist in the amateurs through to a professional, it sometimes doesn't work for people, but it seems to be doing all right for her.
No, exactly. You see it all the time. You see top professionals turn over and they don't necessarily do too well. They're great for 3, 4, 5 rounds, and then when they get to the later rounds, you start getting caught out a little bit, but Liv's transition perfectly. I think it helps as well because she always had quite an aggressive style in the amateurs, and it's normally the back foot fighter who don't necessarily do the best in the pros. But with Liv, you tell her one thing and then she implements it straight away. Even in sparring, she was sparring Crystal Barker over the weekend, and you'll tell her to say something and she just does it straight away. Whether it'll work or whether it won't, she's always perfect for trying it in sparring, which is what you need. It's all well and good doing all the techniques and everything on the pads, but the pads don't hit back. They're not really a realistic simulation of what you're going to face in the ring. When you start doing it in sparring, that's when you see whether it's right for you or whether it's not. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of things in this camp that we'll go through Liv with, and they might not necessarily benefit her, but if she practices it in sparring and it doesn't work for her, we can move on and we can do something else then. On the flip side, if she goes in sparring and something works brilliantly, we can then start implementing that into a game and a game plan for the fight on there.
Just evolve herself as a professional in her own way.
Yeah, exactly. She's already got her own style now. She can flip between the amateur style, she can flip between the pro style, sitting down on her punches. The punch power's improved so much in just a couple of months with us now. She's really coming on. It's going to be a big statement on the 16th.
Well, I'll have to ask her about that in a bit. I know what she'll want to do. She'll want to go in there and knock the person out in the first round, but she's got to be careful, hasn't she?
Yeah, that's the thing with the pro game. It's a lot smaller gloves, and as much as people want to go in there, obviously the journeymen and the journeywomen are a lot more experienced than necessarily people might think. So if you start rushing in and trying to land, it only takes one shot in the pro game, no matter what side of the table you're on, for them to start delivering that punch, and the fight could be over. So she can't go in there and brawl like I know she'll want to. She's got to in there, box, pick a shot, and not necessarily go in looking for the stoppage. If you look for the stoppage 9 times out of 10, you're not going to find it. If you go in there and look for your shots and pick them, that's the way she'll get the stoppage. But having said that, if she comes away and gets the 4-2s away, it's all been its experience, do you know what I mean? Chances are Liv's probably going to be getting fast-tracked just because she has that European gold medalist, and obviously women's boxing's on the rise now. It's probably the best it's ever been. So they're looking for superstars, and Liv can be one. 100% she can be one. She just needs to take her time.
There's no rush, is there? That's the thing. You know, 1 or 2 fights and they want to propel her over into, you know, maybe a title fight. That's too early, in my opinion.
No, 100%. I think she will end up getting fast-tracked, but fast-tracked after maybe, 5-10 fights, then they can start talking about the titles. But you don't need it after 2 or 3 fights. As much as Liv will feel like she's ready, it's our place to kind of tell her, this is where we're at, these are the fights you should be taking. And don't get me wrong, we believe if you put in with anyone, she'd obviously give a really good account of herself. But it's also about kind of holding her back and saving herself a little bit. Because I know for a fact if Eddie Earn came to her and offered her any fight for the world title, she'd take her on a debut, do you know what I mean? she's one of them where she needs to be held back and go, no, Liv, listen, this is what the path is. If you're happy doing it, you can do it that way. Obviously, that's what you need to do with all the stable. It's what I've done with Edo, it's what I've done with Leon Willens.
So, talking to Leon, I think he's in line for maybe an area title fight at some point soon. I know you've had some difficulties making a fight, but that's his next step, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So, obviously, the fight against Jake Barton, that was a phenomenal fight. That was third round stoppage for Leon. That was the central area eliminator. So, realistically, the next fight for Leon should have been in the central area. But if there's no suitable opponent, we just have to wait for an opponent to come about. So, we might be getting him out on the 23rd of September. Hopefully that'll be in Grand Central. That'll pretty much just be, it'll be a takeover fight, but it'll be a tough takeover fight because if you're going into that central area next in them 10 rounds, you need a good stern test. You don't want to go in there with someone who's just going to blow out the water. It's not worth it. But yeah, there's a lot of options on the table. So
I'll tell you what, Leon doesn't do easy fights, does he?
No, he never wants doing these fights. To be fair, that one with Jake, that was never going to be an easy fight, ever. And he's seen it himself, Jake's so tough, Leon's so tough. But even against, obviously, Bacador, that was a war as well. The Robbie Chapman fight, he does love to fight. That can be his downfall sometimes, but we're working on getting him a little bit calmer, picking his shots. But, you know, he's had world-class sparring with Callum Smith, Callum Simpson. We know what level he's at, we know his ability levels. He can go all the way, and he will.
And he's top 10 now in the UK, is that right?
Yeah, top 10, youngest top 10 in the country, 22 years old. I think the next youngest is maybe like 30 odd. And obviously a couple of them are going to start moving on, potentially by the time Leon gets to the European world level. So he's really going to start stepping up. But this next fight, the central area, obviously I believe he'll win that, and then next year be the English title then. See who holds that, potentially go straight in for it. With Leon, I know he's only young and he's 22, but he is mature in there, he's physically mature. We've seen his talent, so it's not really a case with Leon of holding it back, it's getting on right fights at the right time. And yeah, English champion by 2024.
That's a good goal to have, mate. Now listen, I mean, been talking to a few of the fighters in many gyms, not just this one, and they're all frustrated because this year it's really kind of like fight cancelled, weeks notice, 10 days notice. Last year, some boxers fought 7-8 times. What do you think's going wrong this year?
To be honest, I think a lot of it could be potentially like financial issues with, not to get away from like boxing and stuff, but even just the general public sometimes. You see some tickets that are like £50-60 and you can have 4 or 5 shows a month. People can't afford to go to them. That's a lot of the thing, and then there's a lot of injuries. There's obviously a lot of issues with the board and kind of finding the right opponent. So for example, with our central area, we could have had that, the fight was in March, we were probably ready from June. There's just been no suitable opponents. But yeah, I think it's probably the shows that can get them putting on. But again, that's not the promoter's fault. Obviously, they can't be putting on these shows and potentially losing money. I know Steve Wood's done a good interview, probably a couple of weeks ago after he had to cancel one of his fights. But his reasons are valid. If the tickets aren't being sold, then we can't expect promoters to start fronting and putting on all these shows.
There's been a lack of shows in Liverpool in particular.
Yeah, probably Liverpool. I know there's a couple more in Manchester, but we just kind of need that set promotion, ideally. You know, obviously GSW have got their show on the 16th, hopefully. Because how many good fighters do in Liverpool? There's so many up-and-coming fighters. I think the worst thing is how many fighters do you see after like 3, 4, 5 fights who just pack it in? Do you know what I mean? Everyone sells tickets on the debut, everyone sells tickets for the second fight. It's for the 3rd, 4th, 5th, when not as many people want to necessarily support them. That pack it in. And maybe if they did have shows more often and more local, they wouldn't potentially pack it in. I think we need a really good promoter to come in and kind of have set shows on set dates, ideally throughout the whole year, just so you can get so many lads on the cards and hopefully get everyone the experience that they need and they deserve. It's a tough sport at the best of times, never mind when you're training for essentially no fight.
Well, listen, it's nice to be down here, and it's quieting down a little bit now. As Leon's just turned up for training, Liv's just turned up for training. Although I'm not quite sure what he's wearing. He's got this orange, horrible. I don't know where he's got that top from. It's awful. I've got to be honest. He looks like he's working on the M60. To be fair, we'll get him on in a minute. But it's nice to see you doing so well down here with Terry, and you know, it's just nice to be in good surroundings with good boxers, and you must be enjoying yourself.
Yeah, to be honest, it's the best gym we've ever been at. Been at some great gyms, but this is really. I know every gym says they are like a family, but this really is. We see each other outside the gym, inside the gym all the time. It's just a great atmosphere. Obviously, we've all trained together for years now. Terry's obviously created an unbelievable atmosphere in this gym now. All the lads like each other, we all get on. It's just a great stable to be around, and it's so relaxed as well, the environment. You come in and everyone's speaking to everyone, and obviously the public come in, mix with everyone. It's an ideal gym now.
Well, listen, our sponsors, Walsh Therapy, are just down the road. You know the guys very well. So we've got a little challenge for you. You're not going to love this one, mate. You've been stitched up by Tezza here. So next time we interview you, yeah, they're going to open up a wellness cafe and have some well-ice baths in that cafe in another room. So we're going to interview you in one of the ice baths.
Need time to get shape off, lad. Know what I mean? Need to get my six-pack back.
So are you up? Are you up for it?
Yeah, come on. Sign me up. I'll pull a sickie on the day, like, but yeah, sign me up.
You be pulling out on us, flipping heck. It's just hard enough for us as well.
No, I'm up for that, yeah. You doing it as well?
I don't think there's one big enough for me, but you know, I've got to hold the microphone and the camera, mate, so I can't get that wet, can I?
No, it's a good point. No, I'll do it though, yeah.
Right, well, that's it. You heard it here first. Walsh Therapy. Jamie's going to come down and do his next interview in the ice bath.
So we say. I'll see you there, hopefully.
Well, listen, mate, great to speak to you as always, and good luck with all your fights in the next sort of few weeks, and hopefully we'll be speaking to you with victories under the belt.
Definitely. Nice one, Jonathan. Nice one for coming down. Always a pleasure, mate.